February 12th edition of Great Talk with Martin Kilcoyne, the Fox 2 sports director. I guess I can't say Fox 2, right?
You can say it or you can't say it? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Are you asking permission, Dan?
No. I'm asking if I'm saying it the proper way.
Oh, because you're not saying the 2 Fox?
No. Fox 2 is the correct way to do it, right?
Correct.
Okay, no KTVI.
We don't really say that.
The power of 2.
We do say that, although I love Channel 11. God bless Channel 11, the Stooges, Wrestling at the Chase, now part of our great news brand.
Larry Munchnick.
It's the power of 2, Dan. Although the microphones, when they first came out, I think I was down at the Cardinals, and John Lozelle said, "What's 2.11?" I said, "It's 2 and 11." He goes, "Looks like 211." I said, "No, it's 2." And then it's an 11. He goes, "Yeah, I know, but it looks like 211. I go, "Just forget it, okay?"
Just answer the question.
Yes. Instead of calling 411, you called 211. We are the power of 2.
Hey, there's a lot to get into. Super Bowl last night.
People are mad at us when we miss weeks. I got to tell you, Dan, it's our fault. Collectively, it's our fault. But all the people that get upset, thank you for your patience. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Our staffs.
Yeah, staffs.
There's no such thing as staffs, calves. Our staffs have been meeting to kind of work this out so that we can arrange our schedule. So we are here for you, the listener, and we appreciate your patience.
We do appreciate your patience, and we try to do it every Monday. Don't send nasty notes of, "Where is it?"
No, I like that. I like that because then I know people care.
Well, they care.
It's like
but
the angry fan. I want you to be mad at me.
We're trying to, well, by the way, the website is free. So
ScoopsWithDannyMac.com. Great content, and I'm being serious. Bernie writes daily and has all this great Cardinal information throughout the baseball season. He digs deep on it. He really pours a lot into that. All of the podcast segments are on there. So it is. It's a great website, and it's free. This is free.
Do you go to it much?
I do.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed Bernie's writing.
I do, too.
What I really missed in the Bernie bits on Saturdays was the calm down list. Remember the calm down list?
I was on the calm down list a couple of times.
And I think he got rid of it because Frank Cusumato's mom got upset one time because Frank needs to be in the Calm Down Hall of Fame, but his mom, I think, got upset. And then then he brought it back, and I love the calm. I was on it one time.
I was too,
and
a couple of times.
And it was he asked me, like, what do they say? And I said, they said I send too many emails, like, to the staff. I was like new as the sports director or whatever, and it was in there. And my boss said, "Hey, did you see this thing in the paper? They were calling you out." I said, "No, they weren't calling me out." I said, I gave them that.
It's a segment.
It's a bit.
Yes.
It's a Bernie bit. Hey.
All right, Super Bowl last night. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I had no rooting interest. We've talked a lot about the Chiefs around here. I don't root for the Chiefs, but I have nothing against them. I have friends in Kansas City, family in Kansas City. I just wanted to see a good game, and we did. I was bored in the first half.
I was going to say, the first half was
such
boring.
a snoozer.
Yep.
But it's unbelievable how the NFL, and this is in the last 5 to 10 years, the product is just on fire. The games are always good. Even when you have a bad matchup, you get a great game. You could not have had a better finish because what do you want? You want a competitive game. You'd like to see a little swing because the Niners were kind of in control. But I think at halftime, they had to know. We blew it. Kansas City was bad. We were better. And it's a 7-point game at halftime.
All the turnovers, that was kind of interesting, which gets overlooked, I think, on Monday morning.
In the red zone.
Yeah, in the red zone. I thought Nick Bosa was awesome. I thought he could have been the MVP if San Francisco won. He was everywhere in that game. Tony Romo might get an MVP. He was all over the place last night.
You know what's crazy about him, and he gets more critique of late. I heard a podcast with Jim Nantz, and they asked him about all the critique, and Jim Nantz said, "I'm not on Twitter. I don't know." He said, you hear from friends that there's stuff out there, but he said, "I think we're doing great. I think the broadcasts sound great." I think Romo...
Singing to break, though?
What's that?
He sang 3 different times to break.
Yeah, maybe that's because he's Tony Romo and he's loose and he can do whatever he wants. What I notice is he doesn't finish a thought.
I agree.
He will, like, the sentences never end. He'll be like, "Yeah, I'll tell you, Jim, and there's a chance there, Jim, where, if they, when you're moving the ball," and he just stops. And I'm
right.
like, what was the thought? There was one where the holder, Niners maybe, Chiefs maybe, did a great job getting the snap down for the kick.
I thought about him
and he
immediately.
said, he goes, "If you look there, Jim, the snap's kind of low, and great job there. Great job there." Like, and you knew he didn't know who the holder was.
Right.
And listen, he's fine. He makes a ton of money. I think he's overall popular.
If he was a stiff, we'd be saying nothing.
Correct.
He gives you something different.
I think they went from Phil Simms, who's kind of dry, to Tony Romo, who's got tons of energy. What I felt like in the game, and I could be wrong, is that Romo heard all the critique, and I think early on he was kind of like unsure what he should do.
I agree.
I think he was trying to scale it back because he knew everybody had been pounding on him for being a spaz, but then he didn't quite know what to do.
I agree. I thought he was definitely reserved in the maybe quarter and a half, maybe even the first half, but then it started to come out.
Yeah.
And the second half, he's getting into it. Yeah, and just letting it rip. So I don't mind that at all.
It's fine. Yeah, was it a great broadcast? I don't know. Who decides that? 5 critics around the country that write about this stuff probably be the ones who will give out a grade for it. Remember, Rudy Martzke always had the dreaded oops award or the dreaded glitch, and it would be, CBS put up a graphic that said champions, and it was before the game ended. You're like, oh, no. What are they going to do?
Media on media crime.
Yes, there's a lot of that. I just really enjoyed it. I think Vegas is the perfect setting for the Super Bowl with all the glitz because everything the NFL does is just so over the top. And now presenting the colors at the Boys and Girls Club.
That's pretty good.
From Guatemala. And we pay tribute to all the hurricane victims. And then after that, we'll have all of the fire victims. And after the NFL tries so hard to and they have a platform and it gives everybody exposure. But I just laugh. And the guy, Alan Roach, is the voice. And I was looking at his bio because I knew he did Avalanche games. And I was at the playoffs a couple of years ago, and I saw him.
He does the Rockies, too.
He did Rockies, Avalanche, but he switched from Broncos to Vikings. And I thought, was there a free agent bidding war?
Wow.
So he does Vikings home games. He used to do the Broncos.
I didn't know that.
He does everything Denver and Colorado except Vikings. I thought, did he get wooed by the Vikings?
Sure.
I just love how over the top the NFL is, and Vegas is just perfect for that.
Well, 70% of the final month and then into the playoffs went down to the final possession of every single game. Bad game, bad teams, didn't matter. 70%. That's the best reality TV you can have, and it makes it fun.
You knew watching that game, at some point it's going to come down to Mahomes. You just knew he's going to have a chance. And how are you going to bet against him? How in the hell they were underdogs? I don't care if it's 1 point, 2 point. How could anybody set the line? And I know they're trying to bring money in, and apparently Vegas got hammered. The sports books,
did.
I read a story where on ESPN.com.
I was shocked that they were the underdogs.
And they said the worst thing they could do was have the Chiefs win and have the game go to overtime, which is exactly what happened. They said the sports books took a bath. And the over-under, when it went off by the final kick, I guess, before it went off, it was 46.5. That was the final number set. Over under, total points. What was the final? 25 to 22, 47. I was like, but earlier it had been 47.5. And can you imagine if you bet the over and they score that last touchdown, but they don't have to kick the extra point?
Right.
There's your 48 right there.
Reba said something twice.
McEntire?
In her song. Did she sing? She did not sing the anthem.
She did the anthem, I believe, yeah.
Okay,
Which surprised me because they're so young and current. I kind of liked it that it wasn't all, like Post Malone did God Bless America.
That's what he did that.
Post Malone.
Right.
And what do you think of when you see Post Malone?
Tattoos.
Well, okay, yes. Or as my mom texted me, who is this weirdo? My mom was upset. I'm like, who cares? He's popular. He fell through the stage at Enterprise Center.
That's right.
That's the guy who fell through the stage.
I forgot about that.
That's all I think about when I see him.
So Reba said something twice in the anthem that took it, I believe, to the over. If she doesn't sing it twice, it would have been like a second under. So that was one of the prop bets you could have. The Taylor Swift stuff, you have to show her. You got to show it multiple times. That was fine. How about Kelce bumping in, not bumping, but taking over and hitting too strong of a word, but bumping
knocking him over, I'd say.
Andy Reid.
Yeah, that moment, for people who don't like Kelce, that's all they needed to see. And I get it, it's energy, and Andy Reid had a great answer. He was on the set of either NFL Network or ESPN last night. He's like, oh, you know what? He just kind of caught me off guard. Otherwise, I would have kept my feet, kind of laughing about it. It wasn't a great look for a player to do that to his coach. Yes, Kelce's fiery, But he kind of looked like an ass.
I thought so.
He looked like an ass doing that to his head coach.
In the regular season, I think it gets
Andy's
more.
kind of a big fella. Like, it just was a bad look.
I think in the regular season, it would have been more. And I think it would be more today if the Chiefs lost. Because then you'd be saying, well, what was going on?
Dysfunction.
You saw Rashee Rice get after Mahomes when he missed him on a potential touchdown pass late, and they're screaming at each other on the sideline. So that's, that would have been the dysfunction narrative here on a Monday morning.
I think at the parade, Andy Reid on the stage, Andy Reid should go up and knock Kelce over.
Be awesome.
They should do a bit about it.
Yep, and then it'd be put to bed.
But it was just entertaining to the very end. I think for the 49ers, all those weapons. Brock Purdy's obviously a very good quarterback. He's not Mahomes. You have McCaffrey, Debo. You have Kittle, the tight end who didn't do much at all. Ayuk. You have all these weapons, yet they didn't seem to be – now, on the season, they scored a ton of points. But they just feel like that team that's going to score about 20 or 23. And to beat the Chiefs, you better score more points. And I just felt like that whole game – you better get to 30. You better if you're going to beat Mahomes, you better score more touchdowns.
Unfortunately for Kyle Shanahan, the narrative for him is going to be you can't close games out. And he didn't close it out last night. He was part of the 28-3 Patriot comeback. He was in a Super Bowl prior to that, in which they did not win. Yeah, to me, it's unfair when people say that, but that's going to be the knock on him. 3 Super Bowls, had a chance, was in position to win all 3, and didn't do it.
I think one moment, though, where he maybe stepped out of that persona was when it was 4th down. They could have kicked a field goal. It was the later Juwan Jennings touchdown that put them back in front. It was 4th and 3. They were at maybe the 10 or the 12. He went for it. They got the first down. They scored the touchdown. I thought to myself, that's what you got to do here. You got to be a little more bold. You can't just kick a field goal and be happy you tied at that point in the game. They got the touchdown to Jennings and took the lead. And I thought that's different there. Shanahan not being overly conservative, but I think in the end, that narrative's not going away. How is it you can't beat Mahomes? If I were him, I'd say, you try beating Mahomes.
No kidding.
The only guy who beats Mahomes is Tom Brady. So he's 15-3. Patrick Mahomes is 15-3. Think about that in the postseason. He lost to Tom Brady twice. When it was New England in an AFC championship game, when it was Tampa in a Super Bowl, and the only other one was Joe Burrow got him one time in the AFC title game.
Missed extra point was big, too, because it changes how you have to drive or what you're thinking in that time frame to make sure you get the points to tie it up. I thought special teams was huge. I also thought the kicking game on both sides. I think you could have given an MVP to a kicker.
That Harrison Butker is just automatic.
He's automatic.
They've got the best coach, they got the best quarterback, and they have the best kicker. So all these things, when it's crunch time, is your coach going to make the right decision? Is he going to stay calm even when his wacko tight end's running him over? Is the quarterback going to be poised on a 4th down play in overtime? They had to convert. Who tucks it in and goes? Mahomes. And then you have a kicker where, hey, it comes down to a kick. That's another weapon we have. We not only have the coach, the quarterback, we got the kicker. The extra point, that's huge because, of course, it's a 4-point game. I think Romo, this is where it does crack me up because the guy gets paid $18 million to know way more than any of us about football. But he'll say the most obvious things. Hey, Jim, that's big because now, Jim, now the lead's 3 instead of 4. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That is big. However, I think at that late regulation drive by the Chiefs, I think they would have been going for the end zone because they would have had to. Remember, they got that late field goal to tie it. I bet they would have scored if they were down 4. You can't prove that, but that's just my feeling.
I went to Dunkin' Donuts today.
Did you? Did you buy a tracksuit?
I did not buy a tracksuit. That was my favorite commercial, though, of the Super Bowl. I thought they were underwhelming for the most part. There were some that I liked. I liked the Schwarzenegger one, but my favorite was the Dunkin' Donuts one with all the Boston guys.
I mean, it was a good bro, and you're making fun of Good Will Hunting, how you like them donuts or whatever. And Dunkin' Donuts is a big Boston thing, so you roll out, and then you add Tom Brady. I'm just confused. Are Ben Affleck and J-Lo, are they together in real life or they're not?
No, they are.
Okay. I honestly, I thought part of the spoof was that they had broken up and that he was trying to get her back.
I think they're married.
Okay. I lose track because were they off and on at one point? Okay.
They were off and on, and then the off was a pretty considerable amount of time.
Okay. And then now
got back on, together. And I think they got married.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cheesy, but I enjoyed it. A lot of the cameos of celebrities are just so stupid, like forced in. I felt like the Coors Light where they had the big train. It's LL Cool J driving it.
Who hasn't aged.
Well, he hasn't aged, but the female character yells up at the conductor and says, "Thanks, LL Cool J." And I thought, did they do that so everybody knows?
Right.
And I said, if you have to remind people who the celebrity is, that's not good. I like the Christopher Walken where everybody did the voice.
That was good.
I think I like the Mr. T sketchers. Most kids probably have no clue who that is. If you're 40 and under, you may be like, what was that? It was Tony Romo and who is that guy, Mr. T? That cracked me up.
Pretty good.
Because it's Mr. T, but that's my age. I think the NABA with Arnold, that won the USA Today
That's
ad
the one
meter.
I like. Yeah.
Yeah, you said that one. I think that was really good. But on the whole, I mean, there was, the Dan Marino almost winning, kind of funny. But
Messi was good.
Messi with Mick Ultra. I think it was all right. I mean, it's all trying so hard. We know that.
I thought Usher was really good. When he did the roller skates, I was like, wow.
Producer Dave, who's a loyal listener, Dave Job, goes, wow, Usher can skate.
That was my most impressive part of the night. Him skating was better than anything.
At that point?
I had to give him the MVP. I'm not a huge fan of Usher, but I thought he put on a hell of a show. And then when he did the roller skates, I thought, all right, that puts it over the top.
This will be about a Thursday or Friday of this week topic on First Take or Get Up or one of those ESPN shows. And the banner, the graphic will say, "Can Patrick Mahomes skate like Usher? What if is Usher a better rollerblader than Mahomes?" That'll be the next topic.
I think Kansas City, if I'm correct with this, going back to their first Super Bowl that they won with Mahomes, I think Chris Jones is the only guy from that defensive unit. So there's no reason to think that they wouldn't have a chance to get back. I think starting this morning, San Francisco is the favorite already, the odds for next year.
I didn't see that, really?
Yeah, San Francisco, I believe, was the favorite to win next year's Super Bowl.
I got the Pack, Dan. I think the Pack's going to be good. They're young. Jordan Love.
I like the Pack, and I like the Texans.
Yeah.
Texans, too, with C.J. Stroud, as young as they are, defensive rookie of the year.
Are we breaking down the 24 NFL season
already? Why not?
Have you done your mock draft yet?
I have not, but I'll be interested. I like it. I mean, what's amazing, Marty, is that in 4.5 months, training camp will start again. It's like 4.5 or 5 months, and training camp is back for everybody. College football, it's like early, late. Some teams are late July, but the NFL will start just slightly after the 4th of July. I mean, this season is long, man.
Look at you, Dan. You're back in with the NFL.
I am. I'm totally back in.
You're not. Are you? Okay, this is something I wanted to debate. Randy Carricker TV. We didn't have time. By the way, the game was ending, and I can't wait to see the numbers locally. I'll bet you Channel 4. I'm going to say 500,000 or 600,000 people because the Super Bowl is always massive everywhere. Chiefs have a strong following now in St. Louis, so I bet you anything that thing was off the charts. Goes to overtime, so Randy Carricker and I are live on the set. We can't show any video. Our whole plan went to shit because at 9:15, the game is supposed to be over. We have all these tapes about Mahomes, the biggest plays of the game. Can't use any of it. And so we had this impromptu blues segment where I'm like, hey, Randy, Super Bowl's in overtime right now. Hey, how about Jake Neighbors, huh?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like, he's checking his phone for the score, and I look out of the corner of my eye in the Fox 2 studio, and our weather guy, Glenn Zimmerman, does the giant touchdown symbol. So I know now the Chiefs just won. So I just said on the ice, so what do we got, Glenn? Hold on. I just said, Glenn went in. He said, I said, who? He said, I don't know. So I said, the Chiefs just won, folks, and at that point, everybody's watching the game, and you just sort of concede.
So how many people do you think watched your wrap-up show?
I mean, normally you got a chance because the network goes immediately to some drama or crime show that they want everybody to watch, so you get people flipping around looking for commentary or otherwise, and which killed us last night because the game went to overtime. I have no idea. I can find out later. I would say maybe 20,000, though. You have some people who are like, I'm sick of it, or hate the NFL, don't like the Chiefs, or watching a news program and then the sports geeks come on.
Yeah.
And you hope that they stick with you. But it was kind of funny because I said, Glenn, what do I got? And he's like, touchdown, Chiefs. And I was like, who? And then Randy, thank you, sir. Let me look at my phone. Mecole Hardman. And I'm like, I forgot Mecole Hardman was back on the Chiefs. He was on the Jets this year.
Yeah.
They never – It is amazing. They just plug in random, like this Kadarius Toney. They end up not really needing him. They draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He didn't really work out. You have all these random guys popping up, and all they need is Mahomes and Kelce.
Do you think that today should be a national holiday?
For the whole country, like get the day off?
Yeah.
No, I think that sends a bad message, Dan, that
stop.
Sports is ruling our country.
Yeah.
What about moving the game to Saturday night? People have advocated for that. I don't think so. Just leave it alone.
Well, if you moved it to Saturday night, it's the most non-watched television night of the week.
But people, I think, would make an exception.
I do too. I think people would make an exception. You'd have massive Super Bowl parties. Not to say you don't have them on a Sunday.
Right.
But the kickoff locally is 5:37.
Which is pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is, because you're East Coast fans.
It's 6:30 there, so
11ish, 10:30, 11ish.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I wouldn't mess with it. National holiday.
What about moving it to a Monday night?
No, that's worse.
Okay,
that's worse.
National championship on a Monday night.
How about the Winter Classic? The Blues are in next year with the Blackhawks at Wrigley Field. The date hasn't been announced, in part because they want to see what the college football championship is doing, and if New Year's Day is like 2 semifinals or whatever. The NHL's like, we're going to wait.
Yeah.
So the Blues and Blackhawks might actually play New Year's Eve at Wrigley, which would be fun.
Yep.
But it's the power of football because they're waiting to see when that game is going to be first.
It's not a regional sport. It's a national sport. Everybody's in. Baseball, hockey, it's now regional. Hate saying it, baseball is not America's pastime anymore, and it's been blown away by the NFL. You have to say, as much as you don't like the business side of the NFL, man, they have it figured out.
Oh, for sure. Everything they do, and even like just tweaking the draft and making the first round primetime, making it more. It used to be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Guys that are superstars in college are getting drafted, and nobody's, unless you're, Joel Bushbaum, you're not watching every second of the draft.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting for the Chiefs moving forward, and they are the kings. It is a dynasty, but having Jim Harbaugh in that division, such a psycho about coaching, had success with the Niners. He's got Justin Herbert. Is there any way Harbaugh can get the Chargers going enough to really be in a divisional threat to the Chiefs? I love that moving forward. Just out of curiosity, if Harbaugh can kind of get it going enough to kind of rival the Chiefs a little bit.
He's such a great character. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is one of the great characters, and there's no one that's just like, with him. You either love him or you hate him. And I'd say the majority of people look at him as a villain. But he's going to have a pretty good team coming back because of Herbert.
Got a Bosa. He's got one of the Bosas.
He's got one of the Bosas. And if you look at how the Chargers lost games this year early, they were barely losing games. So it tells you that maybe a coaching change, a tweak here or there, what they do with Herbert would allow them to get over the hump, and it's going to make it fun.
And I'm not obsessed with the Rams. There was probably a period where I just wanted them to lose and do terrible, and now I'm like, whatever. But I will enjoy it if Harbaugh can get the Chargers going. I still don't think they're going to have a great following in L.A. No. They just never will. But if Harbaugh can make the Chargers for a little while this great team, and it sort of makes the Rams a little inferior in terms of the L.A. market, who's the better team, I would enjoy that. I think the Harbaugh villain could go up a notch or two if the NCAA, even though they're a joke, if there's a bunch of if there's more to that whole story that went on at Michigan with the sign stealing, if it's more in depth and more detailed and he's got his fingerprints on it, a lot of people think that's one of the reasons he left. Not sure about that. That would add to the villain. Oh, you left Michigan now. You got out. And people up there might say, who cares? We got a national championship.
Including him.
We're good.
Including him. If you said to a fan, you're going to come, the NCAA is going to come down on you, and you're going to get a national championship, or NCAA is going to come down on you, but you keep Harbaugh. I think most fans would just say, let's take the national championship. A lot of good players coming back. Looks like Sharon Moore seems to be the logical guy to follow him. It doesn't surprise me at all if they my point is, I think they would take the national championship.
Oh, yeah. Even with baggage or people mad at them, I don't think they care at all.
No.
I mean, I don't think Ohio State ever cared. Urban Meyer wasn't like a saint. People up there would hire him back tomorrow in 2 seconds.
Yep.
And did Chip Kelly already leave for Ohio State?
He did.
A head coach
at UCLA.
Leaves to be the offensive coordinator And I didn't realize that Ryan Day had been on his staff several times, so they're very good friends. That makes a little more sense. But a head coach at UCLA leaves to be the OC. I think it just tells you the current climate as a college coach, NIL and all this crap. You're like, I don't know if I even want to do it.
It's a headache. The guy from Boston College left too. And I think he went to the Packers with a head coach.
And they're just like, well, guys leaving college to go to the NFL, I get it. Just to get away from all that. But then Brian Kelly stayed within college, but I guess he figures, hey, at least I don't have to be the main guy anymore.
Sure.
And maybe he's like, they're going to fire me in a year. I'll get out of here while I can. A name that came up in the UCLA search, they're saying Barry Odom is a candidate, former Missouri coach who had some success at UNLV. It is just funny, man, how it all kind of comes around.
But to your point, it must be so dirty behind the scenes to where you're a head coach. This is your program. I mean, for God's sakes, you're at UCLA. You're living on the West Coast. You're you can make that one of the best programs in the country, and you're leaving. It's an indication of it must be just awful behind the scenes for these guys. Re-recruit their kids, recruiting others, recruiting transfer portal becomes a pain in the ass.
Yeah, at some point, there's always going to be a candidate, but you may just be losing good candidates. At some point, the level of coach at college football, you're like, where'd they all go? None of them want to do it.
Yeah,
because it's part of this whole conversation. How do we get this under control? It's just out of control. The transferring, love the fact kids can make NIL, but everybody said, are they even using their name, image, or likeness? Are they even selling a car at the local dealer? No, they're just getting checks handed to them. That's not what was intended. Also, it's being used as a recruiting tool, which again was not how it was intended. It should be illegal to recruit kids with money. Once you get on campus, hey, we have this.
But should it be?
I think the name, image, likeness was about you're on campus playing for this team, make however much you can with your name, image, and likeness, and now you get kids who are juniors in high school saying, how much are you going to pay me?
Yeah, I got no problem with it.
Really? I think you got to get on campus, and then you get cash all the checks you want, but they're using it as a recruiting tool.
So what would you say then to a coach that signs these kids and then leaves for bigger money? I mean, they're the ones that are making the huge money.
Oh, there's a lot of hypocrisy.
So make the players employees.
Yeah, and remember Rick Pitino said last week we need to have a salary cap.
Yeah.
And everybody said, well, we're going to cap coaches' salaries. There were some holes in his argument, but I don't think he was entirely wrong that we got to come up with something. Think about the money like Ohio State's alumni base or Michigan's alumni base. These schools are like 40 to 50,000 students. Massive amount of alumni. So just by the percentages, you're going to have way more millionaires or billionaires just because you have so many alumni. Eventually, does a Gonzaga have that many alumni? Eventually, like, where do you go? The well's going to run dry at some small schools.
Yeah.
When trying to, I'm just saying it's not apples to apples. It's not when you talk about wealthy alumni.
But that's the point, though. You can cap it and then disperse the money.
Well, if you cap it, yeah. But I'm saying right now, there's no way you can compete with these massive schools with their alumni base. How many people they have to draw upon.
You came in here, you said you were aching.
Yeah, a little sore today.
Big workout yesterday?
No, I wish I could say that, Dan. Just general aches and pain.
Yeah.
That's it. I need to head to the MAC. Get a little workout in.
MAC.
Yeah, Missouri Athletic Club. It's the West location is great. The kids love it in the summer for the pool. You can learn to play pickleball, Dan, which I don't know how to play.
Never played it, but it's a hot topic in the United States.
The E-Trade commercial, they always have the babies. I think they kind of need to move on, but they were making fun of pickleball a little bit. They said it's like tennis for babies, except adults play it.
Which I think it was pretty good.
They took a shot at pickleball, which I kind of laughed about. Missouri Athletic Club, downtown, out west, 2 clubs, two clubhouses, 1 club. MAC's great, by the way, is all I'm saying. You got Triad Bank.
Jim Regna, our buddy.
Friend of the show for all your banking needs. Appliance discounters. If it's a washer, dryer, entire kitchen, whatever you need, just go online. It's theappliancediscounters.com. Biggest names, lowest prices. Friends at Marie de Villa Senior Living, corner of Clayton and Wideman Road. Great place for senior living. And, of course, we're in the Pasta House studios. Dan, you knew that. PastaHouse.com, where you can order ahead, let them do the cooking for you.
The amazing thing is that our studio is cut in half. We have a piece of tape that goes right across
Like
this. Herb Tarlick.
Nessman?
Les Nessman, Herb Tarlick, the crew from
WKRP.
Yeah, WKRP in Cincinnati. So with that, we are in the Lou Fuse Studios, and Lou Fuse Athletic
Looks great over there. But the Lou Fuse Studios look awesome.
Fuse.com to get your car needs. And we have, in just a couple of days, Valentine's Day. Head on over to Lordo's Diamonds. They can help you out with your Valentine's Day gift for that loved one in your life. And that's lordos.com, located in the heart of Ladue. You're looking at your notes.
I am looking at my notes.
We pretty much covered it.
I feel like we covered it all. I want this to kind of be, I have all these different things about Blues and Billikens, Mizzou. I think that can wait because we'll be here next Monday. Let's commit.
Oh, yeah.
It's President's Day next Monday, Dan. That's a big one for.
It's a national holiday.
That one is a national. Now, they could move the Super Bowl every year. There you go, to align with President's Day.
I think they should do it.
We may have just stumbled into something.
I think that's the way you do it. So you'd push the regular season back
Call
1 week.
Schefter, have him tweet it out. Jay Glazer, tweet it out. This is actually, because it's really right around the same time.
Yeah. So you'd push the regular season back a week, I guess.
1 week.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones. Well, I had an 18th game. The players will just not get paid extra. We'll make a little more money. We'll sell the 18th game to
or just add it to get more money.
We're going to sell it to the A&E network. They're going to buy it, and then that'll be a new channel with football on there, and y'all can just stream it if you don't. Just pay a little extra, and then 1 week later, I think that would work.
I do too. I've actually thought of that.
Let's look at. Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've thought about it.
President's Day, tying it together.
I'm trying to figure out ways to make it a national holiday to where the kids get off school, everybody doesn't work. It's kind of a rebound day for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, the Super Bowl should be a national holiday.
Well,
the day after.
You should have said earlier, Dan, that President's Day is the perfect time. All right, next Monday, I'm going to look at the schedule for the future Super Bowls, and I'm going to kind of move.
All right.
And I'll call my NFL buddies because we're very connected these days.
I'm sure.
We're very, very close with those folks.
I'm sure.
This has been a lot of fun, Dan. I wish we would do it, and we will.
On a more regular basis.
Thank you for everybody who's angry. I enjoy your anger. One guy last week, I think he said, okay, so it's just not a thing anymore, is it? Like,
well, it is. It's just when we can, line our schedules.
I know. It's great to be here, Dan.
And this has been
a great talk.